Okay, Jason. We left off at the cannibal ride up in Lagoon.
That's how you know CE is good.
Yeah,
It's comparable to an amusement park. Yeah,
yeah. The only thing as amusing as this stuff would be, this is better than the Blue Mouse, not as good as the cannibal ride, apparently.
somewhere right in that. Yeah, right in that niche.
Yeah, somewhere between. What's up next?
We're talking about the purchase contract. It's exciting.
Okay.
It's actually kind of cool. It's a really well written contract and it's fairly easy to understand. If you have questions about the purchase contract, you can almost always answer it by reading it.
What? This reminds me of that whole concept for guys. When all else fails, read the instructions.
Yeah. 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 So I think it's like, and this is the required course, right? Mandatory for all agents. And it's interesting because like these are things that are easy to understand once you understand them, but maybe your first time through. Anyway, so let's start. So the Utah real estate purchase contract, or as we call it, REPC, which other states don't call it. If you call it REPC in another state, they're like, "What are you talking about? Real estate purchase contract?" Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You got to go down the road of all four words.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
Right?
Sick and wrong.
They have other things in other states with really good, but we'll hit that in a minute. So this section isn't even numbered. It's like the beginning. It's the first section, not section 1. But this is what it talks about. It says, on this day of blank 20 blank, offer reference date. Like, on this day, we're writing a contract between a buyer who offers to purchase from the seller the property described below and agrees to deliver no later than 4 calendar days. After acceptance, as defined in section 23, we'll cover what acceptance is in a little bit, earnest money in the amount of blank in the form of blank after acceptance of the REPC, the buyer and seller, and the receipt of the earnest money, the brokerage shall have 4 calendar days to deposit the earnest money into the brokerage real estate trust account. We're done. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Sounds easy enough.
Let's cover what we missed. Okay, so you're a real estate agent. I want to buy a property. You write it up. So on this day, Jason's gonna buy property from John Smith, Joe Smith, John Doe, somebody,
One
right?
of those guys.
And I'm gonna give earnest money, and the amount changes. When I got in the industry, $500 was fine. Like, that was plenty. It's more now, and the earnest money can influence the sellers in their disposition to sell. Right, the more earnest money, the more attractive it seems. But we'll cover how much that really matters in a minute too, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna put down earnest money, and then you can do earnest money in whatever way you feel like it. Let me give you some advice as a lender, though.
Mhm.
We need to track everything.
By in whatever way you feel like it, I'm guessing that you mean the options might be cash or check or I guess you could PayPal it. That would be a way.
You could, yeah. If like this purchase contract has a dollar sign on it, so they most likely should be done in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really specify this. This has to be this way. So, and I'm most like, I don't know if you can try Bitcoin if you want or something like that. But what I'm talking about is cash or check mostly. And if it were me, I would always do check because it's trackable. I write you a check, I get a copy of that check, I give you the check, you cash the check, your bank gets a copy of that check, they keep a copy of the check, I can show the funds left my account, I can show who I wrote that check to, I can show the money's not there, that's proof you have the money, it's gone. You can get a copy from your bank. They do it to prevent forgery, check washing and stuff like that, right? But it works really well to prove receipt of the earnest money. Now this is important. So, how long? Do you remember how long I have to give you my earnest money?
I'm going for 4 days.
4 days. So this is 4 days. It's an easy number, and I don't know for sure why. But if I gave it to you at 5 o'clock on Friday, which is the last time of day, which is acceptable per the contract, 5 o'clock on the business day. But then the bank's closed, right? You can't
Right.
deposit it, and it's Friday, and this is near Memorial Day, right? So you can't deposit it on Saturday, which is the day one.
Mhm.
Day one isn't Friday. Counting starts the day after. That's what the
Good to
REPC
know.
says. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the banks are closed.
Memorial
You
Day.
can't.
So you got one day.
So you've got to put it in on Tuesday. Now, if I
Right.
gave it to you Monday of a normal week, who cares, right? But you have 4 days to cash that check. No, I have 4 days to give it to you. You have 4 days to turn it in.
Yeah.
So
And
same thing.
I'm thinking too that with technology, it's made a little easier because on any day at any time you can do the
Mobile deposit.
Mobile deposit. Yes.
When a lot of brokerages or title companies have their deposit set up, and this is their business. They'll have it tied to the account. Now the earnest money goes into a separate account, not their checking or savings account. It goes into a escrow account that's set apart for earnest money. To be specific, it has to go there. Okay, now, per the purchase contract, the earnest money needs to be deposited at a brokerage. It has to.
Okay.
But some brokerages don't want to hold it. And there's different trains of thought as to why it should be at a brokerage or why you might want it at a title company. But if you decide that you want it at a title company, there's an addenda, which is here. So all this says, so one, just really quick, when you're writing an offer, if you change things in this contract, as a real estate agent, you shouldn't be changing much in this contract, in the offer. You have to use this contract. But in the contract, this is where you would put a strike through or something, and you would write the contract. The other party would see it with the strike throughs, with the whatever, in this form, and then accept, reject, or counter it.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't change. Once it leaves my hands, I write it, give it to you, you accept it, you reject it, you counteroffer it, you send it back. You don't strike through it after you receive it and send the original back. That's now marked up. And I don't change it either. If we're going to make changes to this, we leave this as it is, so we don't cross out the brokerage. But in the section where it says, are there any other addenda, you say yes. We're going to put the earnest money, the title company addenda in there. And then, so this, page one still says brokerage. You're not messing with this. And then this one says title company.
Okay.
So you send it over with the purchase contract as an addendum.
And what's the title on that document?
Deposit of earnest money with title insurance company, addendum to real estate purchase contract, addendum number blank.
And I'm thinking if I'm the broker of a real estate agency,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why do I want to add another task to my list? Send it to the title company.
Yes, but here is an idea. Okay, so a broker in
Mhm.
real estate has a little bit of a heavier duty license than just a real estate agent.
Right.
They're a broker. They understand the rules a little bit better. They should understand the purchase contract to a T. And they deal in real estate. A title company, while dealing in real estate, they're dealing in title and as a neutral third party. So for title to do its job, they receive instructions from party A and party B, and if those instructions match, they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral third party. So if I'm buying a property, I've deposited my money with their title company, and then I'm going through my due diligence, and I'm like, I don't like this property. Title company, I want my money back. The title company says, okay. I now note that you want your earnest money back. What do the sellers want? So if it's with a brokerage, if I've deposited it with my agent at their brokerage, they've got the contract. I'm within the terms of the contract, and I'm backing out. They say, cool, there's your earnest money back.
Mm. And so that's the answer to my question of why I want to do it myself and add to my plate. Is because that provides better customer service.
Right. In other states, they have it held at the title company for different reasons. Because there can be, like, hey, I was out of town, my wife was sick, my something, I don't know. Okay, give me my earnest money back. I know I'm a day past. And the broker's like, yeah, well, and that shouldn't happen, right? But the broker's license sure is, and fees and stuff is on the line then, right? That's his responsibility. And that's how we do it in the state of Utah. They prefer it with the brokerage, which is why it's in the purchase contract like that, right?
Okay.
Too many papers. Okay. So that is, okay, wait. I almost went too fast. Okay, so what do you do if you're the agent and I don't give you the earnest money? 4 days have passed, 4 calendar days.
If
On
I'm the
fifth day-
agent, you're the buyer.
Yeah.
And you don't give me
Don't give me the earnest money.
And
Contract that is breached. It's no longer, the terms of the contract are not being fulfilled.
yeah, I'm thinking if I allowed and put a signature on the REPC that says I received the earnest money and I didn't.
But you didn't, actually. You as an agent don't sign the contract. The contract isn't with you. So what do? You have a contract.
Uh-huh.
You're representing me. I'm the one who signed the contract.
I think I'm hosed.
Not quite. Because
Okay.
you're the professional. So what you do is you call the other party, the other agent who's working for the other party, and say, hey, I have a voidable contract. I don't have earnest money. It's the 5th day. I don't have it. What do you want to do? And then they can say what they want to do. And you can call your client and be like, hey, this contract can be canceled by the sellers. Like, we've not fulfilled the contract. And if the sellers want, they'd be like, we're done. Boom. Also, if they want, they can say, we'll wait. Right? But that's what you need to do as an agent. Say, hey, there's something came up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need to do. Because it's not your contract. You didn't sign it.
And if the sellers say, let's move forward, and the worst case scenario would be the buyer says, hey, I didn't give you a check, but now I'm not gonna.
Then you say, let's cancel this.
Okay, you can still cancel.
Yeah, we're done.
And I, as the realtor, am not writing the check that I didn't get.
Right, yeah. All your responsibility is to deposit the check I gave you.
Okay.
Your responsibility is to inform the buyer, who really doesn't know what's going on because they haven't read a real estate purchase contract or any of the addenda or know how it goes on. Your job is to be like, this is what you're promising to do. These are the terms. Do you want to fulfill it? Do you want to move forward? Now, the purchase contract offers heavy protection on the buyer, not on the seller, not on anyone else. So there are things that, like, buyer beware, like how much square footage is in the house, and get a home inspection, right?
Right.
Because while the seller owns the home, we're just humans, and maybe they're a dentist and not a home inspector, and don't even know what black mold looks like. They think, oh, fun. Look at this little modeling that's going on my wall. It's like black. That's kind of cool.
Okay.
You
Kind of
know?
like a rag roll, only natural.
Yeah, it's a natural patina. Didn't even pay for that. So, yeah, your job is to handle everything really, really smoothly. Okay, so what if I don't give you the earnest money and the seller says, hey, how's everything going, and it's the 5th or 6th day? What do you tell
Well, my first thought is you tell them the truth.
them? What? We're salespeople. We can't do that. Yes. What if you say, no, everything's good, and you don't have the earnest money?
Liability.
Yeah, big. So this one actually, grounds for disciplinary action, 61-2F401, right?
Uh-huh.
This is this is you get in trouble. Will you lose your license? Probably not. I can't say, but like you're in trouble now.
Right.
So if you misrepresent anything, and that kind of going forward, like it's your job to make sure that the people who aren't professionals understand what's going on and that the transaction goes really smoothly. So that's kind of what we're looking. It covers substantial misrepresentation, intentional, flagrant, false, all the like misrepresentation. Right? Don't lie.
No.
Okay. Then one more thing. So deposit earnest money with insurance, title insurance company. This would typically come over as an addendum because you, as a licensed real estate professional, would be going through the contract and be like, hey, so we're going to hold the check at my brokerage. You'll make the check out to Jason Christiansen's best real estate company ever, because that's what my real estate company would be called. and then cash it, and then the buyer would be like, okay, now, per se, the buyer was from a different state, and they're like, no, I want to be held at the title, and then at that point, you'd be like, okay, sweet, you put the addendum in. But what if, like, they weren't paying attention? Because you were obviously explaining very, very well, but they just weren't paying attention. And they come back to you and they say, no, the earnest money must be held at a title company. Then you get this addendum, and you write it as a counteroffer. We're going to cover really quickly an addendum and a counteroffer. An addendum adds something to the contract. So you have an accepted contract already, everything's signed, accepted. We'll cover what that means in a second. But you've got this accepted contract, and you're like, hey, we would like this. Hey, we want all the colonial furniture in the house as well as the purchase. And the seller says, no. You still have a fully executed contract, away you go. That addendum gets rejected. Everything else previous stands on its own. If you send it over as a counteroffer, everything hinges on this. So addendum, like, hey, we want that money held at a title company, it's not a deal breaker, cool. Or, if the earnest money isn't held at a title company, we're backing out.
Right, so the addendum leaves in place everything that was done previous to that moment. The counteroffer leaves the whole wad exposed.
Take this, or it's all or nothing.
Yeah, and this is probably a good time to note that based on the people I've seen and talked to and the experiences I've had, you don't negotiate through addenda. You're better off negotiating through email, and once you've agreed, you do an addendum.
Yeah, if there's big things, it's always best to work it right, like repairs. In our other class, we talk about it. You work out repairs via email, so you have it in writing. And once they're agreed upon, you send it over, because you run into those problems of a house possibly looking not safe or sound and not being lendable, right, the property. Anyway, in other states, they actually have amendments. An amendment changes what was originally written. So in Utah, we just use addendums or counters.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, but that's just kind of fun if you're licensed in another state. That's an amendment, changes existing, addendum adds something, counter hinges to everything. So there's that.
Okay.
Next,
What do we got next?
seller disclosures.
So we'll be right back.